Okay, this video is going to be 411.3 work together. In your textbook, we're looking at page 319. And it says, to use the partial cash payments and general journals from the work together for 11.1, the general ledger account forms are given in your working papers. So we're going to need to be using 11.1 in order to complete 11.3. Number 1, we're going to start a new page for the general ledger account supplies office. So we've had our accounts payable, the people we owe or the vendors. We've had our accounts receivable, which is the people who owe us money. There are customers, and now we have our general ledger, which is for our basic general accounts. These are the cash, the accounts receivable, the things we started with at the beginning of the year. But we're going to make a new page, so we need to look for a blank general ledger form. There's one. We're going to put in the account name, which is going to be supplies-office. And we're going to have an account number, which the book tells us is account 1145. Okay. We had a previous balance for this one. So we're going to need to come down here for the date. The date is October the 1st of the current year. So October 1st. And then you need to go ahead and put your year above that. I apologize. I can't write on the smartboard, so that makes it a little more inconvenient. Okay. The item number. Am I going to be putting anything in the item number this time? Or in the item column? Yes, I am. The only time we put things here is if we have a balance, pretty much. So balance. Post reference, what will I put there? Okay, that just is a check mark. I can't make the check mark, so I'm going to make a V. Looks sort of like a check mark. And what this means is that this information just came from the previous page. And the balance it says that we had to begin with was for $3,824. Now this time we have a debit and a credit balance. So am I going to have a debit or a credit balance? The book does not tell us. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to think back. Okay, supplies is what kind of an account? It's an asset. An asset, does it have a normal debit balance or a normal credit balance? Okay, if you don't remember, it's on the left side of the accounting equation, so that means it has a normal debit balance. So I'm going to come over here to the balance column and put in the amount, $3,824. Okay. We now have number 1 done. Number 2 says post the October 19th general debit entry from the cash payments journal to the appropriate general ledger account. So I'm going to go to my cash payments journal. I think that was from 11.1. 11.1, work together, cash payments journal. Here it is. We're looking for the one for October 19th. There's our October 19th. This was to supplies office. So we're going to go back to our supplies office ledger. And it looks like we're posting a debit of $69.60. Now before I leave this page, I'm going to make note this is cash payments, page 15. I'm going to need to know all that information in order to fill it in. I'll need to know it's cash payments, page 15. It's the 19th. I'm looking for supplies office, and it's a debit for $69.60. So flip back to your other page. Yes, in accounting, whenever you're posting, there is lots of pages to flip through. I'm looking for supplies office. That's not the right one yet. There we go. There's my general ledger. Supplies office. This happened on the 19th. So I'm going to put the 19th. Where did it come from? It came from the cash payments journal, so CP 15, because it was page 15. And it was a debit for $69.60. So in my debit over here, I'm going to put $69.60. And see if I can slide that over a little bit. Okay. We had a previous debit balance. We have a new debit entry. Will I add or will I be subtracting? A debit and a debit are the same, so I'm going to add those two numbers together. So if you add those, you should have gotten $3,893.60. And that is still in the debit column. Okay, we're not finished. We still have to take the account number of 1145. Go back to your cash payments journal. And 1145 is going to go here in the post reference. Oops, 45. Okay, now we're done with that step. Step number 3 says post the October 12th general journal entry to the appropriate ledger accounts. October the 12th general journal. Here's my general journal. October the 12th. It looks like we have 3. We've got the sales returns and allowance has a debit. The sales tax payable has a debit. And the accounts receivable has a credit. We've already done David Bishop. So in yours, you should already have in the post reference, the bottom half of that slash should already have an account number in it because we've already posted that. So we're taking all that information and we're going to flip over to our general ledger accounts. Oops. And the first one we're looking at is going to be the sales returns and allowance. So I'm looking through here for my sales returns and allowance. It may be on the next page. Sales returns and allowance. Here we go. The date is the 12th. And the post reference is where did it come from? It came from the general journal, page 11, so G11. What was it? It was a debit for $52. So I'm going to come here in this debit, $52. Line those up. Okay, so now I need to find my new balance. I had a debit of $903. I have a new debit of $52. What will I do? Right, I'm going to add those two together to get a new debit. So if you add 903 and $52, you should get $955. Okay, we're not done. We have to take the account number of 4,130, flip all the way back to the general. And we're going to put 4,130. I'm going to have to make that a lot smaller to make it fit in here. Okay. Next, we have a sales tax payable, $3.12. Sales tax payable. The date is still the 12th. The post reference is going to be where did it come from? So that's going to be general 11, so G11. And what was it? This was a debit of $3.12. So in my debit column, I'm going to put $3.12. Move that a little bit. Okay, I had a previous credit balance. Now I have a new debit entry. Typically we have credits in sales tax payable, but because this is a return and we gave back money, we need to take that off. So it's a credit of $3.12. A credit and a debit, what do I do? Right, I'm going to subtract. Next question. Will my answer be a debit or a credit? Right, the answer is going to be a credit because the credit was the bigger number whenever I subtracted. So when I subtract those two numbers together, I should get $1,406.88. Okay, I need to take my account number 2140, go back, and here in the post reference I'll put 2140. Make mine smaller. Okay, next we have to go to our accounts receivable account, and it has a credit of 5512. So this time I'm looking for accounts receivable in my general ledger. Accounts receivable, here it is, October the 12th. This is going to be G11 for General Journal 11. It was a credit of 5512, so I'm going to put it in the credit column. And am I going to add or subtract to get my new balance? We had a debit, now we have a credit, so we're going to subtract. Next, will my answer be a debit or will it be a credit? It's going to be a debit because the debit was the bigger number to begin with. So when I subtract those two, I'm subtracting 1,339.85 minus 5512. I should get 1,284.73, and that'll go in my debit balance. Okay, going to take the account number 1,130. Back here. And remember, you've already got something in the bottom half of the box. Account number 1,130. So you have to write that one really tiny. Okay, that first thing for October 12th now is done. We're going to go ahead now and post the October 26th general journal entry, which is going to be supplies office and accounts payable. And then number 5 is post the October 28th general journal entry to the appropriate ones. That would be this accounts payable and purchase returns and allowance. We should not be worrying about electrographic supply or art and things. So I'm going to let you go ahead and finish that work on your own, and you can check your answers in the answer book. Then you're going to do on your own 11.3 and application problem 11.3.